Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, welcome to Beer with Geeks. We're two geeks, but three geeks. Geek Out with Beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is Frank. And also joining us today is our good friend from the podcasting world, Justin Vactor. How are you today?
I'm excellent because this is the first time in the history of me appearing on Beer with Geeks. I have a beer. I can't, and it's not root beer.
It's not root beer.
This is history in the making. History in the
St. Patrick's Day miracle.
Yes.
That's what this is.
Yes.
What?
I can't wait.
Justin, we'll start with you. What beer are you drinking?
Well, I have a Spider-Man connection today because I learned and I found out that Tom Holland has a non-alcoholic beer that he is the founder, creator, and never duplicator of, Bero, with his brother. He's got this beer company. So I said, let me try this non-alcoholic beer for the first time for Tim and Frank on Beer with Geeks. I got to see what this tastes like. So today, in honor of the geeks, I just spilled it all over my computer screen.
Oh, no.
Well, you weren't going to use that keyboard anyway, right? So,
Woo, okay.
Was it worth it? Is it good?
Well, I gotta say, this is not bad. This might be something that I go back to. It's got that beer taste that I don't really love, but I'm trying it out. This is called Kingston Golden Pills. So yeah, no, for the first time, this is not a bad sip.
All right. Bero.
I should have brought it.
Bero.
Came with like a little Tom Holland collectible card, and he's like, "Hey guys, this is what I'm up with me mates." He had the whole thing was like British talk. I was like, "Whoa, this is great."
You what?
Yeah, he's like, "This is what." I should have read it. I should have brought it. It was like, "This is what me mates and I drink when we going down to the pubs." And I was like, "Oh man, this is great. I love it."
It does not shock me that Tom Holland drinks non-alcoholic beer. He's got to fit into the Spidey costume. So, you know, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. What's the nutritionals? There's nothing on here.
I was going to say it might not be on there.
I was going to say traditionally, does non-alcoholic beer have less calories? Is that? I don't know.
Often, not always.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it often does, but that I don't think that's necessarily a given because it's still malt. It's still liquid bread, just with the alcohol that gets created as a byproduct usually removed.
Ingredients: water, malted barley, hops, and yeast.
There you go. Yeah. So that's all the ingredients of beer. It's just the alcohol removed.
Also, best served cold with friends, and it's cold, and I've got two friends right here, so this is great.
Oh, cheers!
Cheers to you,
Tim. What have you got there?
I have an amber ale from the Newport Craft Brewing Distilling Company.
Ooh.
They just crafted right here in Newport, Rhode Island. This is their Red-Tailed Hawk beer, and it says, "This beer is no roadie chicken. It is a full-bodied amber ale that will have your taste buds screaming proudly and soaring high. With notes of citrus, fruity flavors, and a pop of pitch pine, this malted barley ale pours as proudly as the red-tailed raptor that calls our brewery home. Whether the leaves are turning amber or you feel like falling into a pint, it's always a good time to heed the call of the hawk. So obviously my pick for, today's episode, which is about DC K.O, was Hawkman, which is why I chose this beer. Everybody's favorite, Hawkman.
That sounds great. Whoever the copywriter was on that, give him a raise. That sounds, or give her a raise. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a good piece of copy. Thanks, ChatGPT, for writing
that. Yeah, no, that was good. That's a very vivid description. Was it red-tailed hawk? Is that what you said?
Red-tailed hawk.
Red-tailed hawk.
Yeah, which is local to Rhode Island. So
right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, there's one that soars around my house every morning. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Well, I am at a disadvantage because I gave up alcohol for Lent. We are still in Lent. So I have been enjoying all kinds of this is very funny because like Vactor and I are
your Bero, Frank?
I know, right? Well, if I had known we were coordinating, but I have an Olipop grape soda. With prebiotics, botanicals, and plant fiber. So it's good. And let me tell you, it's pretty grape.
Yeah. Frank?
It's great to hear that, Frank.
Frank is the king of puns. I love it.
I'm grateful for that. So that's a real knockout.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So,
well, friends, companions, and allies, right? Is what we were gonna go into, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, because what brings us together today is something that brings the three of us together more often than anything else, which is to say, comic books. We have all just finished reading DC's big tentpole event K.O. And we've read all issues 1 through 5. We will probably get into spoiling that at some point pretty soon here. So if you have not read DC K.O, I would say we'll try to be spoiler free for a couple minutes here before we get into it. But I would very much encourage you to read it to be able to enjoy this discussion, because I think we're gonna have some things to say. This is the first DC event that I have really sunk my teeth into in a few years. And it's because of the two of you guys keeping me accountable on it that I've kept up with it. So it was fun to take part in a DC major event while it was happening for the first time in a while. I'm curious. We've talked about it a little bit over on the This Comic Cooks feed, and I guess let's start with you, Vactor, on what your experience of the whole story has been, and how it struck you now that we've read start to finish. What were your impressions?
Starting out, this was the least hyped for an event that I have been in quite a while, because it felt like it was going to have no substance. It was just going to be, all right, bang, bang, punch, punch. And there was nothing underneath it. There was no there. And pleasantly surprised, even from issue 1, I felt like there was always something cooking underneath. There was always another layer to DC K.O. as it progressed. And I was reading all of the tie-in books, which I used to do that all the time, where I would read Civil War, every tie-in, Infinite Crisis, every tie-in. As I progressed in my, both financially and also my time, I just didn't keep up with a lot of stuff, because I found that the tie-ins on a lot of these event books were just filler. There was no meat to the bone. And with DC K.O, I found all of the tie-ins to be a pleasant surprise. And even the boss battle one where it was like, all right, we're throwing in Mortal Kombat, we're throwing in the boys, we're throwing in all of these different things, Annabelle. That was so much fun to me, and it felt like being a kid again. It felt like playing with your action figures and having those power fantasies all over again. On top of that, I feel like DC K.O. is a Superman event, and we all have great love in our hearts for Superman. So I felt like this event in particular was perfect for where I'm at in my life right now, and all of the kind of coming off the back of James Gunn's 2025 Superman. And also on the heels of the Supergirl movie about to come out, I feel like this is a really perfect placed event where I'm feeling the Superman love. I'm feeling the super family all over. So I really enjoyed DC K.O. from top to bottom. And as it progressed, I think, talking to you both week to week or month to month, I was like, man, I'm just loving this. And I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. And I really felt like they stuck the landing on the finale as well.
Yeah, generally, I agree with you, like pretty much across the board, especially about the tie-in part, because I also used to read all the tie-ins, and financially, time in your life, whatever, you just stop doing that after a while. I just couldn't keep up with all of it. But for whatever reason, this one, which I thought was going to lack substance completely, drew me in within the first couple of pages. And I read everything, like straight across the board. And I'd say it was like a 98% success rate. Maybe there were one or two that I went, well, I probably could have lived without that, but I still had fun. And I think that's what I enjoyed about it the most, for how, for its subtext, or its character progression, its character arcs. But also I just did have a lot of fun reading it, and the stakes felt quite real, which I honestly can't say I felt in a comic book since Blackest Night, maybe. Maybe Final Crisis, maybe Flashpoint. I don't think Flashpoint, because we knew it was rebooting. Right. So like none of the stakes, nothing felt like it mattered. But this one felt like it mattered, like a great deal. And that means a lot to me as pretty much a lifelong reader, that I can read a book, like an event book, which generally speaking are a big blockbuster flashy substance things, like there's not a lot of depth to them. And this one made like really nice statements about Superman, about the value of life over anti-life, and so on and so on and so forth. And what I really loved about it is that you knew it's a middle chapter for this. This is an Empire Strikes Back, and that's the closest comparison I can make. Like I felt complete and whole, but it was just the middle of the story. But I still felt like I got so much out of it.
I have to agree. I mean, I feel like it did have, it did matter. There was more substance to it than I was expecting as well. I really was expecting, especially because like a lot of the marketing, it sort of gave the vibe of like being kind of a Mortal Kombat parody. Is I don't mean it as though it was just a making fun of something, but it looked like an homage, if nothing else, to that style and that genre. And I wasn't sure that was going to be for me, but I was in to read it along with all the rest of the Superman stuff. I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised by what an analysis of Superman as a character in particular this turned out to be, which I know we'll talk about more. I was really, especially in the first issue or two, and some of those early tie-ins, I was really struck by what a great breakdown of the DC heroes it was. In sort of those early pairings in the beginning of the bracket, it was really really very in-depth analysis of who some of these characters are and what their strengths and what their strengths are and how they complement each other. That's some of the stuff I found most intellectually sort of stimulating about it. That and as I said, as we get into some of the Clark, Diana and Bruce stuff, really is a big piece of it. What do we think about on the whole? I know we have. I think we all have pretty much the same feelings around Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson as creators on in general, but on Superman. But Vactor, what's your feeling on how they landed this one?
Man, I really would like to see some type of breakdown behind the scenes. How much who handled what? Whenever you have a because I think about in a movie when you have a co-director situation, who is doing what and how much is the story attributed to each one? Okay, I did 50% or I did 80%. What is it? Without knowing that specifically, I will say the tandem of Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson came together to produce something that was maybe greater than the sum of its parts, because Joshua Williamson before this, now I like him as a writer, and he's currently the stuff he's doing on the Superman book is fantastic, but I don't even remember the name of the Night Fight, or not Night Fight, that was a great tie-in, the Night Fight book, the Night Terrors, or the Sandman Put You to Sleep, whatever that was that Joshua Williams did. I was very bored by that crossover. That left a bad taste in my mouth. I would not recommend going back to try to read that and catch up. Scott Snyder, for me, for the most part, everything that he's done, I have been a pretty big fan of. And his metal and death metal events, I didn't have the same feeling that I do on this one. I saw in an interview, he specifically said metal was supposed to be a Batman story. Death metal was supposed to be a Wonder Woman story. Now this is the Superman story. So having the Trinity there, how much does that mean for DC? I really like what Frank was talking about, the board game that they were playing, which kind of sets the whole thing in motion between Clark, Diana, and Bruce, and Lois even comes in a little bit there. But the subtle layers of what's going on in that board game, the texture of that is so fun. And it's really a microcosm for this whole series of this is something that you're seeing going on in front of you, them playing a game, but then there's other layers and levels to that. And it was so fun to read each issue and kind of figure out, hey, what are they trying to say about Superman, about giving him this, in order to win the game, you have to play dirty. You have to be like Darkseid. Superman, as we all know, is the most moral person of all time. We know he's going to win. We know Superman is going to come out on top. How is he going to win and still be Superman and not change his morals to be like Darkseid? And he finds a way. Superman finds a way, which I love. And whatever the breakdown is between Williamson and Snyder, like I said, I feel like they came together to lock hands and give us something that was, I felt like, a good statement about who Clark is, who Superman is, and why he's going to win over Darkseid. And just, it felt like the entire DC universe was involved. And like Tangent said, the stakes are palpable. You feel like something is going to happen if our heroes don't win. There's going to be consequences to this. So I felt like I said, however the breakdown was, they were successful in the tandem pairing. So interesting, because we don't see a co-writer situation very often on these events. So it's interesting.
Yeah, Tim, what did you think?
Generally, I agree. I think that Scott Snyder has the tendency to not stick the landing very well for his events.
Yeah,
I think like his first acts are incredible. Like they're so magnetic, and you just feel you're drawn in, and there are horrible stakes, and there's anxiety, and like what's going to happen, and that's such a cool concept. And then as the story goes on, he really starts to lose what made it good, and he just gets a little too bonkers and doesn't explain it well, and it just gets a little too out there. I did not find that happening with K.O. at all. Like it was so succinct from start to finish. It was so well explained. The concepts were just heady enough for you to understand what's happening and being like, comics, man, awesome. Yeah, you fight across the entire universe in one punch, like whatever, you do it. But I never felt like that was like, I don't know what's happening and what a weird decision. Like it all felt so organic to me as a story. And I feel like that's really where Joshua Williamson comes in. Like, and I feel like maybe together, like with their powers combined of the big headiness and maybe, hey man, let's bring it down over here, like Sandman Sleepy Time or whatever it was, like that's like now you've got the perfect blend from both of them, because I think Joshua Williamson is an incredibly talented writer and Scott Snyder is also an incredibly talented writer, but they really stuck the landing this time. And I did not find that with DC Metal. I didn't find it with DC Metal 2. This is a spoiler from here on out, but I said to one of you, I can't remember, that I find it incredibly funny that it was definitely Vactor, that at the end of DC Metal 2, which was written by Snyder, Wonder Woman disappears like into the ethos, into the whatever, and here's the Superman event, and what does he do? He disappears into the ethos. I'm like, that's just the thing. Like that's just that's what happens. I feel like Batman does not do that in Death Metal, but he already just did that after Final Crisis,
right?
So like not terribly long ago in comics crisis, in big events time. So they can't do that again.
Wow. Yeah, wow. When you put it that way,
yeah, but it didn't feel like a repeat of a story.
No,
that's what I think. DC K.O. is its own thing, and what I actually really liked as far as like marketing is concerned is that Batman is taken out so early, because like you think, oh well, it's Batman's their guy. He's the guy. He's DC's guy. No, he's not, baby. It's Superman's the guy. He's the one that we're all cheering for. And of course, there was Night Fight. Batman had his own 4-issue mini, which was excellent. Was really, really, again, nice statements about who Batman is, but who Batman has evolved to be as a character, not where he was in people's brains 25, 30 years ago, and not maybe like 25 years ago in comics. Like, I'm a loner and I don't like, even though I have a family, I don't really pay attention to them and blah, blah, blah. He's so far past that point as a character now. And that's really what Night Fight is all about. Him like pretty much coming back around to the Batman he was in the 70s in the Neil Adams era, like of the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams era, where he's like, I enjoy being Batman because I'm good at it. And in some ways, like, stopping crime is fun. Like, and he's allowing himself to breathe a little, to have fun in the madness that he takes a part in.
And two things about Night Fight. Number one, it's Dan Mora on art, who is my current favorite artist in all of comic books. Looked fantastic from start to finish. And number two, I really want some spin-offs of each one of those. Like, so each issue was going through a different Robin, basically Bruce's relationship with his Robins. And I want to see Damian from that universe that they set up. I want to see him in another book. Like, I want to see him.
It's funny you say that, because I'd like to skip to the end of DC K.O. 5, where, you know, like, because what is a good event if you're not teasing what is coming next, right? Like it's almost like you read like how it all wraps up, and you're like, okay, but what cool splash page art are you going to show me, or what are you going to tease me with next, right? And there's some teasing going on here that is definitely part of that Night Fight life. Like there's the absolute stuff.
There's a tease of absolute proportions at the end.
Absolute. I just meant the regular characters, but yes, you were absolutely right. But there's some multiverse shenanigans going on over here. And I think one of them, if I'm not mistaken, maybe did I dream that? Because I'm looking at the page.
That is correct.
Okay.
It's at the very bottom. It says elsewhere.
Bottom. Elsewhere. I'm looking at like the 2-page splash with, so there's like Barry being like, whoa, who's there? Book 0. What's that? And then what's this?
Oh, right before that. The page right before that.
Oh, got it. Okay. Haha.
Yes.
Okay. I knew I didn't make it up.
Yes. You did not imagine this.
Yeah. Elsewhere is the Damian Batman. So like you said, like the 4 goes to the different Robins, but it's like they've all become Batman, right? They've all gone and done something. So you start with Dick Grayson, and you move to Jason Todd, then Tim Drake, and then Damian's issue 4. But here's Damian as Batman issue 4, and not the Grant Morrison end of the world Batman 666. Like it's a different Damian, because he has also evolved as a character beyond the little snot that we met back in 2006, right? 2005, 2006. So that I agree. That was very exciting to me. Just like it feels fresh. Like I know you're going back to the same you're going back to the same characters, but that's fine. But it's almost the manga style. Like it's blending American comics with manga, where they're like, okay, we told 300 issues or whatever, books or whatever of this story. We're doing it again, right? Same characters, but we're starting fresh, you know, like total reboot, and you just roll with it. And it feels like that. Elseworlds can do that if it just continues on. That's why I think so many people are drawn to the Absolute comics, right? Because it's something fresh. Like it's something I know, but it is something quite different. And I would love to see that happen again.
Yeah, and that's not a guarantee. Like just doing something over again and putting a little twist on it, a fresh spin on it, doesn't automatically mean, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. What they're doing with the Absolute Universe, what all of those writers are coming together to do, and Scott Snyder on Absolute Batman, has been, to me, a greatly satisfying experience of almost like the butterfly effect. What, you know, if it flaps its wings and then on the other side of the world, this great change is happening. What are these characters to their core? Who is Wonder Woman? Who is Batman? Who is Superman? And we've all talked about Absolute Superman on our This Month in Superman episodes that we were doing, and what they're able to kind of show Clark as, instead, and because he grew up on Krypton, you know, that one change, how does that affect everything else? He's still Superman. He still comes out to be Superman, even though growing up with the Kents is such a vital part to his story. He's still inside. We know him. Clark is still Clark. He's got a little bit of rough edges. There's a little bit of changes, but this Absolute Superman, especially in the latest issues, to me has been really coming into his own of who is Superman, who is Clark. And the setup of this, like seeing there's going to be what looks like an absolute crisis, that to me, I can't wait to see. I really liked how the Absolute characters played into this DC K.O, but I want to see them not being Darkseid's puppets. I want to see them as they are. And I feel like this Absolute whatever the absolute crisis thing is going to be, like that feels like it's going to be those characters that we are growing to love now in these individual books, pushing back against Darkseid.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm very I mean, the bringing that universe together, right, with this was already exciting enough, seeing them be introduced here, and now having them be at the center of a new crisis. I'm excited for it. Now, all of these events feel like a crisis in a sense, right? I mean, we have like a universal rebirth happening again here. We have, this time Superman's hands in the cosmic stew. There's always somebody doing the anti-monitor thing. But let me ask you this: like, on the one hand, we had that, but aside from moments like that, with the multiverse rebirth sort of homage moment there, did this need to be? Was this an event, or could this be a story of its own? Like, how much of this was a continuity shaping event on the magnitude of a crisis, and how or to what extent was this a story could be on its own? Tim, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, I'm going to say that it's a story on its own. I actually don't think that it is a continuity changing event. Like, yes, there are consequences to the actions that of the characters that take place, but not in a way that you're like, and things are different now. John Byrne is going to redo Superman.
Right.
So-and-so is going to do this. And, like, this was just a big event that occurred. And it didn't, because truly the only really big continuity resetting events are Crisis on Infinite Earths and Flashpoint. Those are really the two big ones. Other ones shift gradually over time. Like Infinite Crisis doesn't really change continuity, it changes tone. But it didn't they'd noticed that everything was getting very dark, and they purposely started to move it out in that direction. But it wasn't really a continuity shift. I would not focus that here, even though you're looking at Superman as like remaking the universe in King Omega, and that really nice splash page when he's like this with his hands up, and he's got the very Kirby-esque like energy crown on his head. So cool. But all of that is just another chapter in Superman's life that will continue on in the current iteration that we know and are sharing. And that's my fave. Yeah. I just watched a really good part of read a very good part of the ongoing story, as opposed to closing the book on something.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah. I think I agree with that point of view. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's a total continuity shaping, changing event, but it's still a big event nonetheless.
Huge event. Yeah.
And I feel like there was something said, and we talked about stakes and things mattering. I feel like at the end of the day, now that I've read all 5 issues of KO and every tie-in, I feel like there was a statement to be made. It wasn't just about punching. It wasn't just about the fighting. The KO side of it was great. The KO standing for King Omega, but also knocking out and getting those fights. It taps into even a lot of like manga and anime, like the tournament style. There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z type of stuff in there. It's just fun. And we thought it was going to be this turn your brain off and just shovel the popcorn in. It was that, but also I felt like there was this greater storyline with Superman underneath it, because I still see people online, I've noticed, about talking about KO saying, oh yeah, it was just a big dumb action movie and there wasn't any substance to it. And I really feel like they need to reread it and see it again. Or
if they read it at all.
Right. Yeah, really. I think there is a lot of people like that who are just looking at the headlines and just seeing the matchups. But we also have the strength of us reading the main Superman book and seeing all of those things that are happening. I wonder if someone who's just reading KO didn't have that context and they were saying, oh yeah, it was kind of a big dumb thing. But man, we like a lot of the time trapper stuff that we've been getting over the course of Joshua Williamson's run on Superman, and all of the little like Superboy Prime, all of those type of things. I feel like we're looking at the grand picture of it. We're looking at all these things. Maybe they're just focusing in on this one little piece of the storyline. So that could be playing into it. But I think also Tangent has a point of there's a lot of people that unfortunately today, they just look at the headlines. They just look at a clip and they don't look at the full episode. They don't watch the full thing, and they make their judgments based on those tiny clippets and snippets.
Yeah. It's just the modern judge a book by its cover. Like that's
yep.
judge a story by its headline. Like that's as much as it is, which is a real shame because I haven't been this excited about comics since I started reading comics, right? And it's not all publishing companies like Marvel Comics is not at the publishing level that DC is right now and hasn't been for some time. But I'm genuinely excited for new stories, new events, new creators, like the whole thing. And not just be like, well, I'll read my favorites. I'll read Batman, I'll read Superman, Wonder Woman, whatever. I want to read them all. Like there's that page in DC K.O. 5 where there's Lobo and Batwoman, Deathstroke and Firestorm and Etrigan and Zatanna and Jonah Hex. And I'm like, yeah, man, I want to read all of those books. And Firestorm is my least favorite character of all time. I just don't care. But it's making me want to care. And not just because I really enjoyed KO. I think like the whole publishing initiative is really working for me.
Nice.
And I don't think enough can be said about Javi Fernandez's art here. Like we haven't really talked about it, but man, so kinetic, really lush and colorful.
Yes.
So even though it like Vactor said, it just felt like you were playing with your toys, but you're playing with your toys as an adult because now you understand subtext and character progression and symbolism and all this stuff that you don't get when you're a kid. So it's just banger of an event. I haven't had this much fun reading an event probably since Infinite Crisis, if I'm being honest. Maybe Blackest Night, actually, if that counts as an event. But that was just like a story within.
Yeah, Blackest Night was an event.
It was across all the DC books. Yeah,
it was
okay, so I'm going to say Blackest Night was probably the last time I was this jazzed about.
I'm gonna say that's high praise. That's a big statement.
Not to say I haven't enjoyed the other ones at all. I understand. Just like man, let's do it. What's coming next?
That was definitely a big one. Rebirth was probably the most recent one for me that was like that, though.
That's true.
I was pretty excited about Rebirth, and still sort of stand by it. Like that was a fun time. That was a fun time to be reading, for sure. And that was 10 years ago, right?
What was the event that was Rebirth, though? What was there a big event that led into Rebirth, or did it just kind of start? Because I don't remember there being I was thinking more like a big universe altering thing, not necessarily continuity, but what was the thing that shook the universe? And
there was the in the Superman books there was the 90s era Superman, the 90s era Superman coming back after New 52, and becoming the main Superman.
I remember that
again, right? So that was a changeover that happened. Gosh, I have a terrible memory for
I know that's what that's what I'm just thinking. I was thinking more in terms of
something that stands out to you.
What stands out? Yeah, no, it's a valid point.
Story that led to a change, as opposed to that was actually a really soft launch for Superman to change. It came in its own little series, and then it slowly built and did its thing silently in the corner. But I don't remember Rebirth having a thing. Doomsday Clock? Was it Doomsday Clock?
Doomsday Clock was that was later though, I think, right?
Yeah, I did like the Doomsday Clock reference in DC K.O.
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
In some ways, it just felt like that was an event that happened, and we're just kidding,
right?
It happened. We're just
I know, right? Yeah, feels that way.
Yeah, but no, it's all because that was like I think that was the point of that book at the end, Doomsday Clock, was that it all happens from 1938 all the way to 2026. It all happened. Sometimes you remember it a little bit differently. Sometimes it happened like this, whatever. But yeah, it happened.
I feel like we're jaded because DC has gone back and forth so many times of, oh wait, no, there's multiple Earths. Oh no, there's one Earth. Oh wait, there's multiple universes. Oh, there's one universe. Oh, there's 52. Okay, there's one. Like they've done this thing back and forth, and it didn't. Nothing matters after this. Okay, everything mattered. Like they keep on going back and forth. So it's like I just want a good story. Whatever the window dressings are of the back stuff, like just give me a good story, and
that's what we got.
I think DC K.O. was a fantastic story from start to finish. I'm curious, Frank, any of the things that Gannon mentioned at the end, that kind of the ripple effect, they have that Superman is in the center and then they have like the title, the ripples are coming out. Any of those new things are you interested in?
Ooh.
Like the Zatanna, like the Batwoman, the Lobo. Are you interested in anything that's coming out of this?
Yeah, I mean kind of all of it. But like yeah, actually, okay, the Lobo thing is interesting to me because I've always really dug Lobo as a character, and I, in particular, I think because of Superman the animated series, associate him with Superman in that way. So I'm like stoked for that. I'm excited that he's in the Supergirl movie for the same reason. But I think that actually caught my eye. But like in a bigger picture sense, like if I could take a step back, I really appreciated that this story was so Superman centric and that it had something to say about him, as like there's a reason that only he could be the one to wear the crown. Like there's even Darkseid was like, I had hoped it was going to be you, right? Like I just feel like that is so that felt so true to Superman as a character, and to put Superman in a potentially compromising position, right? Of how are you going to get out of this one? Like you said, Vactor, with you're going to play by Darkseid's rules. How are you going to get out of this one? To put him in that predicament and have it be the central thing of a major, publishing wide event, basically, is how Superman going to get out of this one, and then have him pull it off in what I thought was really, really masterful fashion. Like I always get protective. My hackles go up when a situation like this happens. I'm like, all right, what compromises are we going to make? Like, or am I going to be okay with those? And I thought this was a great, like, they found the way to cut the Gordian knot. And I was very, very, I was pretty pleased with this as a Superman story. And so, I appreciated having a major event where Superman is so much at the center of it, and then like sort of gets the moral victory at the end of the day. That just felt good. It just felt good to see that. Yes. And I was happy to read that.
Instead of Shang Tsung going flawless victory, it's moral victory.
I know this is totally not the point, but Time Trapper, I just see Smart Hulk. I just see Doomsday as Smart Hulk.
Oh,
it's basically what that's my like mental shorthand for what Time Trapper is.
And I gotta say, like, I have never really liked Doomsday from the beginning, and now he is this time with this Time Trapper evolution. Like when you add in his whole story of from the time we saw him in the death of Superman till now, I really like Doomsday now as a character. They've added so much. Like, he started out as, okay, he's just a killing machine. Like his sole creation is to, and kind of like Bane in the same way, the sole reason that he is here is to do this one thing, to kill Superman. Now it's like these writers have, and that's always what the best comic book writers and characters do. Different people have come in, put their take on it, put their spin on it. And now what's currently happening with Joshua Williamson, I feel like is not the culmination, but this is the best I've seen Doomsday, and like the most interesting. This Time Trapper variation of Doomsday now is my favorite. So I'm really enjoying the era that we're in right now.
It feels like they finally landed on one that works, right? Like it's been tried many times,
that's right.
And it feels like this is maybe the definitive one that works. Kind of, I'm struggling to think of another example but it feels like this is the one that landed it,
right? And that there's a reason for his like coming back all the time and always, because there's the thing about Doomsday is kind of like the thing about Goku. Like he keeps getting stronger and stronger. It's like, when is there ever gonna be a peak to where he keeps on shattering the ceilings? And Doomsday, I felt like, okay, he evolves from anything that kills him, he just gets stronger. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, at some point, like, okay, now he's unbeatable. Like there's nothing you can do to stop him. He's evolved to the point where he can survive anything. Well, now it's boring. This time trapper thing, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like the logical conclusion of his arc and like where he's going in the future. I like that. I feel like there's a reason for it. There's a reason for him going to that point. So I like that.
Love one thing we have not talked about that I want to do real fast because we're a little over time, but I want to talk about it anyway, is that it's very, as far as this is being a Superman story, I found it so perfectly fitting that Lex won the crown, and then immediately lost it because of his so perfect. Like not even like 2-3 pages into the next issue is like and then that was perfect to me. That made me look at Williamson and Snyder and say, you understood them all. Like not just Superman, not just Batman, not Wonder Woman, Lois, Hawkman, Harley, Joker, whoever's in it. You got them all, but especially the like all important Superman character of Superman, Lex, and Darkseid in a big way. Yeah, just it was perfect.
And that also comes off of like I said, the heels of the James Gunn 2025 Superman and Lex Luthor. Like the way that Lex is portrayed, I feel like fits in line 100% with this Lex. And A1, like wanting the power and then losing it, like you said. And that's like the Lex wheel that we've been on, the hamster wheel that we've been on for so long. But yeah, that is a great point. It fits. And I was like, where are they going to go with this? And then I was like, oh yeah, okay, this makes perfect sense of where it ended up. So 100% Snyder and Williamson. As much as Snyder has been associated with Batman over the years, I feel like this is going to be one of those ones that we can put a feather in his cap of, hey, he knows Superman as well. He knows a lot of these DC characters very well.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think with that, it would be a perfect time to segue into where the people can find us. Vactor, where can the people find you?
Well, I will be promoting Bero on the Bero website. Now, I have a comic book YouTube and TikTok channel called This Comic Cooks, where I'm really trying to focus on obscure characters, and people seem to enjoy talking about some of the lesser known characters in comic books. And so I'm trying to kind of carve my niche out in that area. So This Comic Cooks on TikTok and YouTube is where you can find me. And I am so grateful and thankful not only to be asked back to Beer with Geeks, but also to call Frank and Tim friends. This is one of the highlights of my time, as always, talking to both of you. So thank you very much.
Likewise, my friend. Thank you.
And seriously, your TikTok channel is always so good. I learned so much from your TikTok about obscure to me characters that I don't know very well. I've learned so much. So yeah, absolutely. Follow This Comic Cooks on the YouTubes and the TikTok. You can find Beer with Geeks over at beerwithgeeks.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us in any podcast app that you like. You can rate and review us and follow us and subscribe in all those places. And you can support us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. And that is what helps us keep on keeping on here at the Beer with Geeks program. Going on now 13 years.
Whoa,
something like that. 13 years.
13.
Yeah.
I was a teenager when you guys started. So
that sounds right. Yeah.
Over 10. It's definitely been over 10.
Definitely
anyway.
over 10. Definitely over 10.
Anyway, well, my friends, it was so good to see both of you. Thanks for stopping by to chat comics with me. Always a pleasure. So until next time, cheers.
Cheers.